How many spins does it take to get to the center of a Crash Bandicoot? The world may never know, or at least wouldn't have known and probably wouldn't have cared if I didn't bother asking that oddly specific question. I'm sure you've seen those "Can you beat" videos going around. Can Mario be beaten without grabbing any coins? Can you beat this Pokemon game with only a Ditto? You get the idea. Didn't really understand the appeal of these videos, so I mostly ignored them when they appeared in my recommended until one day I stumbled across a speedrun of Crash Team Racing. Someone had actually managed to beat the game without accelerating in only a little over an hour. Ended up enjoying it a lot, and it got me interested in the "Can you beat" craze. I'm really fond of Crash Team Racing as well as the original Crash Trilogy, especially the first game. I became interested in doing one of these "Can you beat" videos. I think the character Crash Bandicoot is best known for spinning and breaking boxes, and since someone already made a video titled "Can you beat Crash Bandicoot without breaking a single box?", that left me to ask the question, can you beat Crash Bandicoot without spinning? So I began to play the game not trying to spin and realizing that there was a lot more to this than I thought. This was going to be very difficult to do. In fact, based on some of the techniques I ended up using, it would be impossible for a human being to do. So I used BizHawk, an emulator used for making tool-assisted speedruns, or TASs for short. A TAS emulator like BizHawk allows you to play the game frame by frame. You can tell the emulator exactly what buttons to press on each frame, and you can save state, allowing you to try a single section over and over again as many times as you like until you get it just the way you want it. The point of TASs isn't to pass them off as feats of human skill, but to demonstrate a theoretical perfect run. What would it look like if a superhuman played this game? Now, this TAS isn't optimized, it's not even really a speedrun, it's more of a super play. The best way to describe this playthrough would actually be to call it a LOTAD, which stands for Low Optimization Tool Assisted Demonstration, but that's a mouthful and I'm pretty sure LOTAD is a Pokemon, so I'm going to stick to calling this a TAS. It will be obvious why I decided to play the game using a TAS emulator rather than just playing the game on actual hardware soon enough. So the rules are simple. Can Crash Bandicoot be beaten without spinning? If not, how few spins does it take to beat Crash Bandicoot? And, as an added bonus, I decided to ask the question, how much of the game can be completed without spinning? So, what gems and keys could I get? I'll be going in depth on each level, showing how each level was beaten and each gem was acquired, and I'll be commentating the whole thing. But a link to the full, uncommentated, unabridged recording can be found in the description. Anyway, let us begin. So, things start out pretty good. We can beat Sanity Beach without spinning, and we can get the gem. The only real threat posed to getting the gem is this bouncy crate, but thankfully with the 3 Aku Aku masks this level gives us, we can break the bouncy crate. The rest of the level is smooth sailing. The only threat posed by jungle rollers is this large stack of boxes, but thankfully this level gives us a few masks which we can use to break through the wall of crates without spinning. One of the 2 masks given to us is part of a stack of 3 crates, meaning it is too high for Crash to jump on, but thankfully we can jump on the scenery and then on the box to get our second mask. Keep in mind that we can interact with the scenery in a lot of weird ways, as it will come in handy later on. It may have actually been possible for me to get the gem on this level thanks to a skip used by speedrunners to get this level's gem early. But it ended up not being an issue as I can just come back to get this gem later. Using the 2 masks we got from the last level and the one they gave us in the beginning of the Great Gate, we can get through this stack of 3 crates. Unfortunately, however, our run ends here since there's no way to get past this section without spinning these wheels, as far as I can tell. So now the goal has shifted to try and beat this game in as few spins as possible. The rest of the level plays like normal. It is actually possible to get over the portal without first collecting the yellow gem from the lab, but beyond the portal is another wheel section, and this would add unnecessary spins to the counter, so the level only adds 1 spin to the counter. On normal playthroughs, it is possible to get Boulder's gem on your first run, but there are a few stacks of 3 crates which we need to spin to break, so we can't get the gem for this level. Completing the level normally doesn't add any extra spins to the counter. Upstream, Papu Papu, and Rolling Stones can all be beaten without spinning. As for the gems, Upstream's gem requires the orange gem from Generator Room, while Rolling Stones' gem requires the blue gem from Toxic Waste. It is actually impossible to spin while on the hog, so Hog Wild is just normal gameplay. We can get the gem for this level on our first try, bringing our gem count up to 2. Despite the Great Gate hiccup, we've hardly had to spin so far, but unfortunately that is going to change with Native Fortress. For both of the gate levels, invisible walls prevent you from going around large stacks of crates. Thankfully, some speedrunning tricks can be used to reduce the number of spins. Before entering Native Fortress, we're going to return to a previous level to grab a mask. Now, with the mask we acquired from Upstream and the one given to us at the start of this level, we can perform 2 damage boosts to reduce the number of spins needed to complete this level. Sometimes when Crash is hurt while having a mask, he'll be launched into the air. For example, getting hit by this spiked pole allows Crash to go over this stack of 3 crates. Another damage boost performed off this spiked pole in the ceiling allows us to land and walk on this giant wall back here. Yeah, remember when I said you can interact with the scenery in weird ways? Well, this is an excellent example. Nothing, however, can be done about these wheels in the wall. In the Great Gate, there was only 1 wheel, but in this level, there are 12. With some careful aim, we can actually spin 2 wheels at once, reducing the number of needed spins. We can reduce the number of spins even further with a technique called zip-zagging. Zip-zagging, not to be confused with zig-zagging, is a technique that was discovered by the 8-bit Beast as he was working on his TAS of Crash Bandicoot Warped. Present in Crash Bandicoot and its 2 sequels, zip-zagging allows you to build up ridiculous amounts of negative speed that send Crash flying through the level. So how is zip-zagging done? Well, now you're about to learn why this video had to be done in a TAS emulator. While constantly jumping, you must input alternating diagonal inputs on every other frame. So, hold up right on frame 1, down left on frame 2, up right on frame 3, down left on frame 4, and so on. If you let go of the D-pad at any time, Crash will immediately come to a screeching halt, which actually proved to be very helpful for this challenge. Obviously, these inputs are way too fast for a human being to do, so the emulator was necessary. Anyways, using zip-zagging, we can bounce off this 1-up crate, avoiding the need to spin this last wheel. Even with these techniques being employed, this level still adds 6 spins to the counter, bringing the total to 7. We need the red gem from Slippery Climb to get this level's gem, so the gem count remains at 2. Up the Creek can be beaten without spinning, but a stack of 3 crates prevents us from getting the gem, or so you'd think. Zip-zagging is going to come in handy once again. We can build up a ton of speed, bounce off this 1-up crate, and land on top of this stack. Our gem count goes up to 3. Ripperoo is just normal gameplay, so the spin counter isn't affected. Before tackling the Lost City, we're going to get 2 masks. Then, using the mask given to us at the beginning of the level, we can break this bouncy crate and this group of crates tucked away in this alcove. There's not enough room to jump on these crates, so the mask is necessary. The rest of the level is played normally, earning us the green gem and not affecting the spin counter. Our gem count goes up to 4. Now that we have the green gem, we can return to Jungle Rollers and get its gem. Most of you are probably familiar with launching enemies in Crash. You can launch enemies forward by spinning them, running into them with 3 masks, or getting damaged by them. Using 3 masks, we can launch this skunk into a stack of TNT crates. We then backtrack to get the 3 boxes in the green gem path, and we get this level's gem without any extra spins. Our gem count goes up to 5. Completing Temple Ruins and getting its gem is pretty easy. These stacks of 2 crates can be used to jump on these stacks of 3 crates, and with 3 masks we can break this bouncy crate, bringing our gem count up to 6. Using 3 masks we can get past this stack of 3 crates in the beginning of Road to Nowhere. We can't get the gem, however. You may think that we can use zip-zagging to get to the hidden part of the level, but that part of the level won't load until you touch the red gem platform, or at least I think that's how it works. Boulder Dash can be completed without spinning, but to get its gem we need the pink gem from Lights Out, so the level is just played normally. We can complete Sunset Vista without spinning, and we can get its gem. 2 crates are tucked away in an alcove, just like the one in the beginning of the Lost City, so we need 3 masks to break the crates. There is a mask located later in the level, but if we were to just grab the mask and backtrack, we wouldn't make it in time, so that's where zip-zagging comes in handy. We grab the mask, build up a bunch of speed, do this, which looks awesome, and grab the masks. We can also get the key. Our gem count goes up to 7 and we unlock Whole Hog. Whole Hog is just normal gameplay. We are awarded another gem for our hard work, bringing the count up to 8. You can kick and scream and do this all you want, but there's no way to get past Koala Kong without spinning the boulders at him. This boss fight adds 4 spins to the counter, bringing the total count to 11. Now, believe it or not, we don't need to spin from this point onward. We can retire the spin count for now. Sorry for spoiling the surprise of the total number of spins, but I think discovering how much of this game is beatable without spinning is just as intriguing, so let's keep going. Before entering Heavy Machinery, we grab an extra mask. There is a bouncy crate right in the beginning of the level, a stack of 3 crates that we would normally need a spin to break, and 2 more bouncy crates later in the level. So we will need 3 masks to break them all. Unlike the gate levels, there aren't any invisible walls preventing us from jumping around boxes in our way. So using the mask we entered the level with, the one floating above the bouncy crate and the one in the hidden path, we can break all the crates in our way. The timing was fairly tight, enough that I had to use zigzagging, not to be confused with zip-zagging, to reach the last bouncy crate in time. The rest of the level can be played normally. Interestingly enough, these crates above the bounce pad take a second to spawn in, meaning you can miss them if you're going too fast, and for the purposes of this playthrough, that would be bad. Like this picture. It is possible to get Cortex Power's gem even before we get the blue gem, and it is one of the more exciting moments from this playthrough. In the beginning of the level, I zip-zag for no reason, as I realized that I could have just grabbed this mask instead since I don't use it for anything, but it looked cool so I left it in. So after foolishly wasting my time, I grab another mask and do some more zip-zagging. There is a bouncy crate much later in the level, and normal movement is too slow to reach it, so using zip-zagging, I fly through the level, stopping first to take care of this crate bridge. The timing was too tight for normal movement, but ended up being pretty lenient for zip-zagging. The rest of the level is played normally, and in the end our gem count goes up to 10. We can't get the gem for Generator Room without spinning. This wall of crates looks like it's blocking our way, but using zip-zagging and 3 masks we can get past it. Just like in Cortex Power, zip-zagging wasn't really necessary here, since I later realized that you can damage boost your way above the ceiling, kinda like what we did in Native Fortress. Still, I had the masks, and it looked cool, so I left it in. Toxic Waste can be completed without spinning, but we need to spin to get the gem. 2 bouncy crates in the beginning of the level, 2 stacks of 3 crates a little later in the level, and a stack of 5 crates much later in the level mean that we need 3 masks. It is at this point, however, where one of the limitations of zip-zagging becomes apparent. It takes time to build up speed. It would be possible to build up enough speed to fly through the level and break the stack of 5 crates, but by the time I had built up that speed, I would have lost my invincibility. So the level is just played normally. Pinstripe can be beaten without spinning, something I didn't even know before doing this challenge, so that's cool. The high road doesn't contain any masks, and they tease us with a stack of 3 crates right in the beginning of the level, so it doesn't seem like it is possible to get this gem. You may have remembered what I said about shooting enemies forward and how getting hit by them was one of the ways to do this. I said this works for most enemies, and it does, but unfortunately the hogs are not one of those enemies. They're indestructible for some reason. Try as hard as I may, I couldn't get a turtle to break the first box, so this level's gem isn't possible. You can actually jump on the crates in these little alcoves and slippery climb, allowing us to complete the level and get its gem, bringing our total up to 11. Now that we have the red gem, we can return to Road to Nowhere to get its gem. Quite a few things require us to spin in this level. Some stacks of 3 crates and this crate puzzle off to the side of the level. At least, they would require us to spin if it wasn't for zip-zagging. I build up a ton of speed and break the stacks of 3 crates. I actually don't break all the crates here, so I'm going to backtrack here after I have finished zip-zagging. But before we do that, we have to get to the crate puzzle, because we normally need to spin to break some of those crates. I rush as fast as I can to the red gem platform and just touch it. This allows me to access the hidden crate puzzle. I then use up my remaining speed to jump the gap and break the boxes I need to break just before the mask wears off. This was definitely the hardest thing to do in this TAS, but I think it was worth it, because it looks totally awesome. After this, I backtrack to get some of the boxes I missed, and then complete the level. Our gem count goes up to 12. Getting the gem for Lights Out requires the yellow gem from the lab, so we just complete the level normally, which doesn't require any spins. Something important to keep in mind about zip-zagging is that while it builds up a ton of speed, all of that speed is horizontal, so the technique can't be used to launch myself upwards and skip the yellow gem. Jaws of Darkness contains a gem and a key. We cannot get either. In normal gameplay, we'd first need to get the blue gem, but we skipped that. That is not actually an issue, however, since we could use zip-zagging to cross the gap. Still, there are some crates that we need to spin to break, such as this bouncy crate. We also can't get the key, as that requires the 3 Cortex tokens, and one of them is in this box. We can jump on the scenery and then jump on the TNT, which will break the box, but the token won't be dropped. So, our gem count remains at 12, and we can't access the hidden level, fumbling in the dark. We can actually bypass castle machinery entirely thanks to getting the green gem earlier, but we can get the level's gem without any trouble or any need for advanced techniques, bringing the total to 13. Nitrus Brio can be beaten effortlessly without spinning. In fact, it's kind of the only way to beat him. Moving on to the last actual level in this game, we can get the yellow gem from the lab without any trouble. We can jump around these electrified henchmen, which is helpful for this challenge and actually just helpful in general, so yeah. Now it is off to fight Cortex and complete the game, but before we do that, we can go back to Lights Out and get the gem. The level doesn't require any spinning to beat normally, and we can jump on the scenery to break this stack of 3 crates near the secret exit. With that, we earn our last gem, bringing our total gem count to 15. Did I happen to say we were fighting Cortex? Well, I lied. XD. Unlike almost every other game in the series, Crash 1 can be beaten 100% without fighting the final boss. The 100% ending is accessed via the Great Hall. Normally you need to get every gem in the game to reach the ending, but, well, take a guess what we're about to do. And with that, Crash Bandicoot has been beaten, and we only needed to spin 11 times. In addition to just completing the game, we were able to get 15 of the game's 26 gems, which is more than half, and 1 of the game's 2 keys. I was originally going to stop here, but then I asked the question, what about the remaining 12 gems? How many spins would it take to beat Crash 100%? So, let's go back and see how many spins it takes us to cover the levels we missed. So, bear with me for a minute as I try to type in the password here. Let's see. Yeah, that looks about right. First level we'll be going back to is the Great Gate. We'd run into this wheel again, which would mean that we should dust off the spin counter and add another spin, but I decided not to for this particular spin, and I'll explain why. Even though in my footage I already have it, it is entirely possible to get the gem for this level without first getting the yellow gem. Hell, it's even possible in Insane Trilogy. So if we set out to complete the game 100% from the very beginning, we would have only had to visit this level once, meaning we wouldn't have had to spin this wheel more than once. So this one specific spin I won't add to the counter. Once we get past the exit platform, however, we've got a familiar obstacle. 2 wheels are in our way, but with 1 spin we can get past them. Soon after we run into a bouncy crate, but we can intentionally get hit by this piranha plant and have him break the crate for us. We run behind the wall, break the hidden 1-up crate, backtrack for no reason, and run into more wheels. Hey! Mid-editing Michael here, stopping by just to let you know we gotta spin to break that crate. The one right there. Yeah, we gotta do that. Yeah, we gotta break that. And run into more wheels. 3, to be exact. Which we can break with 2 spins. Our spin counter has gone up by 4, bringing the total to 15. 2 stacks of 3 crates and boulders means that we have to add 2 spins to the counter, bringing the total to 17. Remember earlier when I said that there are lots of ways we can interact with the scenery? Well, that's about to come in handy again as we skip ahead to Generator Room so we can get the orange gem. We can jump on the monitors to get atop this stack of 3 crates at the beginning of the level. The stack of 3 right beside it, however, needs to be spun. Another stack of 3 is in front of us, but we can launch one of these floating cameras forward into one of the boxes, triggering the TNT, which eventually blows up. These cameras are particularly useful. On 2 separate occasions we'll be doing damage boosts off them, one to break a stack of 4 crates and the other to break a stack of 3 crates. Unfortunately, we have used up all the masks that we brought into this level as well as the one the level gives us, so now we're forced to spin this wall of crates. This level adds 2 spins to the counter, bringing the total to 19. After obtaining the orange gem, we can return to upstream to get its gem. This level doesn't actually require any spinning, just the orange gem, so the counter remains at 19. Now skipping ahead to Toxic Waste so we can get the blue gem, there are 2 bouncy crates, 2 stacks of 3 crates, and a stack of 5 crates. The bouncy crates and stacks of 3 can be broken by getting 3 masks and zip-zagging like a maniac. The stack of 5 crates is too far away, however, so we need to spin once to trigger the TNTs, which will take care of the rest of the boxes. The total number of spins increases to 20. With the blue gem as well as 3 masks, we can get the gem for rolling stones without spinning, keeping the counter steady at 20. Since we got the red gem from Slippery Climb earlier, we can now attempt to get the gem for the Shattered Fortress. I mean, the Native Fortress. Unlike the Great Gate, we can't get the gem on our first attempt of the level, so all spins from the any % route aren't going anywhere. The 6 spins required to beat the level any % are still in effect, and we'll have to spin an additional 8 times on this run. Native Fortress is consistently the worst level for this challenge, as no other level in either the any % route or the 100% route requires this many spins. Some zip-zagging and damage boosting allows us to reduce the number of spins. We can damage boost onto the wall like we did during the any % run and then jump off to land on the crates on this giant stack. We still have to spin one of the crates, however. Zip-zagging also lets us break this stack of 3. Taking care of the 12 wheels in this level now requires 7 spins, because you may remember back to the first time we used zip-zagging that I had to bounce off a stack of 2 crates. Now both of those crates need to be broken, so the extra spin is needed. The total number of spins is now 28. The stacks of 3 crates in Boulder Dash can be broken by first jumping off the scenery, and most of the boxes in the hidden path can be broken by launching the piranha plants forward. 2 bouncy crates, however, require us to spin. Thankfully, we can break them both with the same spin. The total number of spins is now 29. As mentioned before, there aren't any masks in the high road, so we need to spin this lone crate right in the beginning of the level. We can launch a turtle forward to break a crate for us, allowing us to break more crates without spinning. The total number of spins is 30. Jaws of Darkness requires us to spin twice. once to get a Cortex token and again to break a bouncy crate. The rest can be taken care of with some strategic zip-zagging. The total number of spins is now 32. Using the key we got from Jaws of Darkness, we can now play Fumbling in the Dark and get the last gem in the game. The whole level can be done without spinning. So, all in all, we are only required to spin 32 times to complete Crash Bandicoot 100%. The total number of required spins ended up being way less than I expected, and that was thanks in large part to zip-zagging. There are a little over 800 crates in Crash Bandicoot, and 32 is all it takes to break all of them. Plus, quite a few of those spins didn't even break any crates. Crash is well known for his spin attack, but perhaps we should reconsider just how we address Crash. After all, not all Bandicoots spin to break crates. Quite frankly, I find the proposition that they do to be really problematic and, quite frankly, kind of racist. Hashtag not my Bandicoot, hashtag cancel Crash. Making this video really made me realize why this trend has taken off. Asking questions like these allows us to approach these old, familiar games from a completely new angle. After all, under no other circumstances does such a measly stack of 3 crates pose such a serious threat. I had a lot of fun doing this challenge, and I intend to do the same for Crash 2 and 3. I would also seriously recommend that you find your favorite game and impose a challenge like this on it, as, like I said, it's a lot of fun. A special thanks goes to the 8-Bit Beast, because the number of spins required to beat this game was greatly reduced thanks to his zip-zagging technique. Another thanks goes out to the speedrunning community for the Crash games, as many of the tricks utilized in speedruns were used to reduce the number of spins required to beat this game. And, of course, thank you as always for watching the video. Anyways, here's a meme.
Here we are! Whew! This is the Trans-Canada Highway, baby! Woo-hoo! Oh, one more time down the middle! Oh! Oh, 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 this is a downhill section, fortunately.
Confess it, but it will not come.
This is why Mom doesn't fucking love
Twinsanity!